Okay, good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to our September 2020 virtual membership meeting. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay. We will go on and get started because we know people's time is important. So I am calling the meeting to order, and we will have our prayer by Mr. Jones and proceed after that with the agenda. We'll follow the agenda as it is written.
Okay. All in prayer, please. Almighty and gracious God, we give you thanks for this new day. We give you thanks for the opportunity to meet with that which we would be able to discuss what is necessary. We ask for your guidance, for your spirit, and that we might be able to do this meeting not only with what is necessary for us, but also that would be pleasing unto you. We ask that you would guide us as we take each item and pray that it be blessed with your spirit. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. Okay. We will get started. I want to thank Sister Marty Pooh for arranging, contacting our county clerk and recorder, Bo Ortiz, to address our membership this morning or this afternoon. And if Miss Marty Pooh would like to introduce Mr. Ortiz, and he can proceed with his presentation.
Great. Well, it's with great pleasure that I introduce Bo Ortiz, who's our county clerk, who does a fantastic job with voting and all the things that he's responsible for. So I will just turn it over to you, Mr. Ortiz. Are you there?
Yes. Can everybody hear me?
Okay, hi.
Hi.
Hi, Mr. Hurt.
What's that?
I was just saying hello and thanking you.
Hello. My name is Gilbert Ortiz. You might know me as Bo. I've been the Pueblo County clerk since 2007. I'm in my fourth term, and I don't plan on going anywhere anytime soon. Over the time period that I've been clerk, we've gone from individual polling places at precincts to all mail ballots in a pretty swift amount of time. I was the past president of the County Clerks Association when we passed House Bill 13-1303, which made Colorado an all mail ballot state. And so I was pretty involved with the day-to-day negotiations with our legislators to get that passed and the governor. Our model that we have here in Colorado is probably the most advanced in the United States. We do a combination of things. We have automatic voter registration at the at the driver's license bureau, and that's so that all of our citizens are have the availability to vote. Then we also use national change of address, which is the United States Postal Service data, so that when people change their address, we can automatically get that data and change their address so that their voter registration won't become inactive. We also have the ERIC program, where our state and other states share each other's data so that we can look for people that are registered in multiple states. Those states around us that we share that data with are New Mexico, Utah, Wyoming, Kansas, and Nebraska. And we're we're starting to go out east with Eric. So we have quite a few states up like Connecticut and New Hampshire that are coming online with us. But the ones that we're most worried about, you know, having duplicate voter registrations are the states right next to us. The next, you know, so our roles are very important. To have a really clean mail ballot election, it's important to have very clean rolls. You'll hear a lot of people say, well, what about the dead? You know, are the dead voting? In Colorado, we automatically get the information from the health department when there is a death here. And so we automatically take those people off the rolls. But if a person dies outside of the state, we don't get that information automatically. So we do have people that have been deceased on the rolls that it's the job of their wife or their surviving relatives to come in and let us know with a death certificate so that we can remove them from the rolls. Unfortunately, there's not a national-wide database for the deceased yet, and we're hoping that soon is going to be rectified. The second thing that is important for a clean mail ballot election is having integrity in the elections. And by integrity, I mean inclusion of everybody that's involved in the elections and open records. So if people need information from us, they can use the Colorado Open Records Act to get any kind of information from us. We also allow anybody to come in and get a tour of our operation while it's in operation. We hold those tours throughout the elections. We ask people not to come on election day though, just because that's an extremely chaotic day. And we have cameras that are on the ballots 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. When the judges work with each other, and Marty Poole can attest to this, we always put a Democrat with a Republican. So at every station in the election, we have both parties represented. And then we have at the end of the election, which adds integrity to the election, we have the risk limited audit, where there is a random number of ballots generated and we don't know which ballots we're going to have to pick, and they are compared against the image that the Secretary of State has, and a Democrat and Republican re-enter the votes off of each ballot, and they have to match 100%, and that happens in all 64 counties in the state. So we're not only testing the elections at the county level, but we're testing the elections at the state level at the same time. I think we're one of 3 states that has risk limited audit, but we were the first to implement it. This election year has been very challenging for obvious reasons. We had 3 elections. We had the presidential primary, the May special district election, and that's when the city had their election on Black Hills. And then we had the regular primary for the candidates that are locals and for the state of Colorado. So this will be our 4th election. That's the most elections we've run in a year. And the toughest one is the last one of the year. So you're going to see a very happy look on my face in December when this is all over. And I'll probably take a good vacation too. But we're seeing a lot of challenges coming up on this election, the president being one of them. He is challenging mail ballots all over the country and telling people without proof that the system is full of holes and that it's easy to get rigged. And that's his word, rigged. As you know, as I've just explained to you, I would have to be able to keep around 150 people keeping a secret in Pueblo for us to do any kind of rigging. And then the state would be aware of any kind of rigging because of the risk limited audit at the end of the election. So, in the famous words of one of my employees, Bo, you're not smart enough to fix an election. And I agree with her. And, you know, and I don't have the kind of control over people where I could tell them, okay, we're all going to lie. You're going to lie for me. It's ridiculous to think that would work. I mean, they can't even keep a secret in the White House. How are we supposed to keep a secret at the county clerk's office? So, and then, you know, at the end of the election, anybody can ask for the copies of the ballots. They can actually look at the ballots. They can ask for the video recordings of the election. So, you know, I think our elections are the best in the country, and I think our president is completely incorrect on, you know, his assertions that we're going to rig the election with mail ballots, and, especially when he votes by mail ballot. So
Exactly.
so that's elections in a nutshell. You know, I'm here for you guys. If you have any questions, you can always contact me on my email address, which is ortiz@pueblocounty.us. It's pretty simple, and I'll answer any questions for you today.
Well, Bo, I have several questions that people have asked me, and I said I would ask you to make sure that they're tuned in and they can get the answer. And the first one was, how do you know that people will, well, of course you talked about that, how do you know that people don't vote twice in a mail-in ballot and then go to vote in person?
Yeah, if, you know, our president told all of his followers to, vote their mail ballot and then vote in person again. If you were to try to do that, when we look you up at the polling location, we will inform you that you were already voted. So, so what happens is our mail system works as soon as your mail ballot comes in and it's counted. Actually, as soon as we receive your mail ballot, in real time, your ballot right to vote is stopped. So you've already voted and when they look up your voter registration, it's going to say that you've already voted. So it's impossible for you to vote twice. Now, if you attempt to vote twice, that is a felony. And so, you know, I'm going to do a lot of informational stuff out there at the end of as we get closer to the election, to warn people not to attempt to vote twice, because we do send those records to the DA's office. And he does investigate those. So, but our system, because it works in real time, we will know that you have voted and you will not be able to vote twice.
I got a question. Miss Ruth Nierenberg, she's written in the chat box. Is it okay if I read that out loud? So Ruth Nierenberg asks, does the risk limiting audit prevent or bring to light coerced ballots? For example, an employer wanting to see an employee's ballot or coercing votes on an issue or candidate or a domestic abuser. What prevents that? So that's a pretty important question, but let me repeat that question once more. Does the risk—
I think I got it.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing we could do about coerced ballots. If there's going to be an employer or, you know, an abusive husband that coerces their, you know, the person that's voting into voting, I don't know how I can, how I could stop that. You know, we've talked about that a lot. Now, all the person has to do is call us and let us know that they're in this kind of position, and we can inform the police or the sheriff's department or even the DAs of something like this. But to prevent crime, I mean, you would have to know it was happening before it was happening, and we don't have that capability.
And but
also with the risk limited audit,
yeah,
the risk limited audit won't show if there's a coercion. It'll show if the machines aren't working properly or the ballots were counted incorrectly.
And a follow-up question, risk, can you just, for a layperson, because I consider myself a layperson, can you elaborate what we mean by risk limiting, or what is a risk limiting audit for those who don't know?
So what the Secretary of State does is they draw lots and they come up with a random number. And that random number will be used to pick the ballots that will be audited, okay? So no county clerk can just pick and choose which ballots are gonna be audited. What the Secretary of State's office does then is they find the images that were generated by those ballots that were picked randomly. And they put them on a program, and then they put them in front of us on the risk limited audit day. And in that program, we have to find that ballot in the ballot boxes, and we have to have a Democrat and Republican sit there and enter the way each ballot was voted into the program. And the way that it's entered is compared to the image of the ballot that we sent to the Secretary of State's office, and if they match, then the way that the ballot was voted was the way that it was counted. and that's key because we want to make sure our machines are working correctly and that nobody is messing with the elections. Does that make sense?
Or does, I think so.
So I have a question. So there's several locations for ballot boxes. Can you comment on where the locations are?
Yeah, the 24-hour ballot boxes, we have one at the Pueblo County Elections Office. We have one at the courthouse. We have one at the Colorado State Fair, one at the Lamb Branch Library, one at the Pueblo County Sheriff's Substation in Pueblo West. We have one at Pueblo Rural Fire, which is out past Legrees. We have the Pueblo Community College, and we have the Colorado State University locations. And those are 24-hour drop boxes. They have a camera on them. We pick up those ballots every day and make sure that we have them in and going through the process. I see Patricia O'Brien has a question.
Yes, thank you, Bo. Actually, my question has just been answered, but I do want to say that I've worked as an election judge at 2 previous elections, and I can certainly attest to the tightness or the security in terms of how people are questioned very politely and how their records are reviewed. So it would be very hard for somebody to kind of get into a polling place and vote again, because of the procedures that are in place that are very, very honest and clear in terms of identifying where people have voted previously, as well as if they need further help in registration. So I think the process is very ironclad in terms of that.
Thank you.
And I can agree with that, Marty Poole, as an election judge. I've been an election judge for several years, and all that the other lady just said are certainly true. So,
well, and the way that we run elections is we're building a case. So if you watch, any kind of police officer, detective show on TV, about evidence and chain of custody and those kinds of things. So basically what we're doing is we're building a case to show that we had a proper election that can be certified. So all those documents are in both of the people that just talked about being election judges can attest that we sign every piece of paper, that we keep every piece of paper, that the chain of custody, if a ballots leave one room, that there's chain of custody into the next room, even though they're under camera. We have D's and R's at every location. So everything that we do, adjudication, the signature verification, and there's a lot of questions out there about signature verification right now because it does kick a lot of ballots out every year because the signatures change. So what happens is we check the signature on every mail ballot. If the ballot doesn't match the signature, we send a letter out to that person and ask them to verify their signature, either in person or using the document that we sent out. We send those out within 48 hours after we find that the signature didn't match. But I can tell you, we get those out the next day usually. And at the end of the election, after the November 3rd, 8 days after that, they can still come in and cure their signature so that their ballot can be counted. We're not done counting ballots until after the 8th day. So, so everybody's complaints about signatures and disenfranchising people, it's something that we have to do to make sure that the mail ballots have integrity, is compare signatures. If we didn't have that comparison, I would question the integrity of mail ballots myself. So, so yeah, it does disenfranchise some people because they don't get a chance to come in and sign their, cure their signature and those kinds of things. But without the signature part of it, the elections don't make sense.
Well, when can we expect the ballots to be mailed out?
The ballots are allowed by law to be mailed out 22 days before election. That'll be on October 9th. It's usually the week after that, but that's Columbus Day on that day, and it's a federal holiday. So, so we're not counting that holiday as a work day, and we moved it to the Friday before that. A lot of people are worried about the U.S. Postal Service. It is being delayed just a little bit. We're seeing about a 1 or 2 day delay, but these ballots go out 22 days before the election, so that shouldn't be an issue. I would just encourage everybody to use one of the 24-hour drop boxes or to drop their mail ballots off at one of the polling locations, just to avoid the U.S. Postal Service altogether. You know, you're going to save yourself 2 stamps, and you'll know for sure that your ballot is in our hands.
To that question, I was talking to Larry Brown one day, and he and I were kicking around some ideas, and we thought one idea we had was, what if like at churches and religious institutions, they could do like voter registration? And then we thought, well, what if the churches or religious institutions or the schools or whatever wanted to do collection of ballots and bring it to the drop-offs? But then I thought, well, wait a minute, those drop-off boxes prohibit a certain number of drop-offs. So can you talk about that?
Yeah, everybody's allowed to bring in 15 ballots per election cycle to drop-off locations. But I have to tell you, it's pretty impossible for us to enforce that. You know, if somebody's going to drop off 30 ballots, we still have to accept them. We just have to take their name. And when we take their name, we turn in the DA, and the DA probably throws it in the trash because there's no teeth to the law. So it doesn't say, you know, it's a misdemeanor or any of those things. It just says that it's against the law, which is weird. I'm not used to seeing laws like that. So, you know, we encourage people to take it themselves because there are people out there that want to do harm, that aren't with an organization, that might want to go collect ballots and toss them in the trash, who knows. So we ask people to take it in themselves or give them to a trusted organization, like you're saying a church would be a good one. But we tend to not to try to get churches and religious institutions involved in elections. First of all, they don't have, you know, they could lose their nonprofit status if they're doing political things like that. And second, not all those churches out there are legitimate, and some of them are run by people that have very strong political views one way or the other. And I just think that taking it yourself or having one of your family members bring it in for us is much safer.
Thank you.
Well, this is Marty. Are you still hiring election judges? Do you still need election judges? And where do they go to apply?
Yeah, we still, we have 300 applications. We only have 150 positions. So
Okay.
we have a lot of applications, but we encourage everybody to apply. We're really looking for some young people with tech savvy who know how to use like an iPad or some kind of tablet, or even are really good on their phones for election day, because we're going to have greeters at each one of the voter service and polling centers. And if people have questions on whether they're registered to vote or if they've already voted or if we counted their vote, we'd like to catch those people before they go into the polling location so they're not clogging up the line. So if you have any, buddy that's interested in being a judge, tell them to come in the elections office at 720 North Main Street, and or they can send us an email at elections@pueblocounty.us.
I'm going to bring up on the share screen just a couple of things that is available on your website. I thought that was pretty informative. So while we finish our questioning here, I'll bring it up here. So first we've got the, there's the election website, just general information about frequently asked questions, precinct finder, pretty much anything you need to know about the elections ins and outs is here. And we have the election calendar. There's your Facebook with the presentation. I like this presentation because it talks about just the basic facts, voting secure. And if you want to know more, you go to govotecolorado.com. There's in-person voting location information. There's talking about how to return your ballots, pueblovotes.com. Talks about how, if there's an undeliverable ballot, what happens. And for overseas and mail-in, and also what you said about checking your signature. So pretty good information, plus a number to call in case anyone has questions, 583-6620, 719-583-6620. Yeah, and then there's the Secretary of State's website too, as well. And pretty clear, very, very clear frequently asked questions there. I went online and there's that link to check your mail ballot status. You can put your name, your zip code and your birthday, and it'll confirm your voter registration like it did mine. So thank you for that.
Yeah,
Hey.
Colorado's always been on the cutting edge, and I think we did that online voting in 2007 or 8. So, and there's states, probably 14 or 15 states in the United States that still don't have online voter registration. So, yeah, I think our Secretary of States, even though you've seen Secretary of States from both parties, they've allowed the county clerks to lead in elections and with our ideas rather than partisan politics. And that's the real difference in Colorado. The Democratic county clerks and the Republican county clerks are all on the same page, and that means free and open elections. And so it's been a great partnership as long as I've been clerk.
There's also that 2-minute video on the YouTube that the chieftain published where the Democratic delegation tours the Pueblo County Election Center. I thought that was pretty informative too. So if anyone wanted to check that out, they just go to YouTube, Google or YouTube and type in Pueblo County Election Center. You might come up with this video. And there's Mr. Ortiz talking to a delegation here, talking about the voter offices, the technology that's used for in-person security and all that. So I thought that was pretty informative. Just a quick little 2-minute video there.
Okay.
Great. Let me just, one more question. Bo, will all of the drop-off locations and everything be in the newspaper so all that information is available to the public?
Yes, I have to put out an election notice. So, or a notice of election. So it'll be in the newspaper with all of the locations, but you can always go to pueblovotes.com or to Pueblo Votes on Facebook, and we have posted most of the polling locations, all those things on there, so you could look at the pictures and just go back since most of the information is already there.
Great, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay. Are there any other questions for Bo? I know his time is very important. Is there any other questions? Okay. If not, I just want to thank, do you have a question, Patricia?
Captain was probably fun.
Okay. So I want to
Okay.
introduce my daughter. This is
Okay.
Elise. She's 4. And this is who I go to work and fight for every day.
Nice.
Hopefully she will have the exact same voting rights that we have when she gets older, comes to voting
Yes.
age.
Amen. Amen. Well, we want to thank you both for addressing our membership this afternoon. And like I told you, we know your time is valuable, and we would put you on first, and we would get on with our meeting after your presentation. So again,
Okay.
thank you so much, and thank Sister Poole for suggesting the invite to share the information. It was very informative, and we appreciate you.
And I'd like to thank you guys. The NAACP has always been a strong protector of civil rights and voting rights. So I appreciate what your organization does, and thank you for everything you do.
And one more thing, Mr. Ortiz, we record our meetings too. So if you go on YouTube and Google or search YouTube NAACP Pueblo branch, you'll find our playlists of our member meetings. And that's so in case anyone asks, you can direct them to there if they want to see your presentation.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a
Thank you
good
both
Saturday,
so
guys.
much.
Thanks.
Okay. Okay. We will go on and to the agenda, which would be the minutes of our previous meeting. Acting Secretary Margaret Mangrum, do you have those?
I can bring them up on the screen too. And I do see Miss Mangrum, Acting Secretary Mangrum's on there as well, but I'll bring it up on the share screen. I can't recall if the general meeting minutes were emailed to the members yet.
No, I don't think I received them. That's why I want it.
Okay. Let's see. I see Miss Mangrum's on the call. Just wanted to. May I ask, Acting Secretary, is it okay if I just go over the minutes briefly, kind of summarize them for the people on the call?
Well, is Acting Secretary Mangrum on the call? If she is on the call, I would like her to do that. Is she able to speak?
Her
not,
video, she seems to be connected, but she's muted, and I don't know if she's able to. Let me go back here and see what's going on here. Ask that. Oh, she sent a chat. No written minutes to report at this time. But
okay, if you can, do you have the minutes, Alan?
Sure. Yeah, I'll just go over them briefly because we have them right here on the drive, the Google Drive. Minutes of August 8th general meeting. There is a video link up above. If anyone wants to watch it in full, it's available on YouTube. We have a list of members present: Wiley, Nuremberg, Lamberg, Faust, the Javanos, Jones, Tafoya, Mr. Mangrum, Miss Mangrum, Miss Poole, Tafoya, White, Miss Helen Wiley, and Miss Mack presiding. Members excused was Mr. English, Hinton, Hall, and Martinez. We had guests present, Miss Rosemary Lytle, State Conference President. Other guests were Regina Renee Ward and Bonnie Bowman. If there's anybody missing from that list, just let me know and I'll correct it. Then there was the July minutes were reviewed and adopted. We had a presentation by President Mack about the Emmett Till and MLK statue. Note about the state conference and Colorado Public Health conducting survey on health disparities. And other items that she presented about what's going on with the state capitol, Representative Escar, meeting with Governor Polis. And there was and she reported about that the law enforcement officials of Pueblo were putting together a citizens review committee and was asking for input. And then no reports from first and second vice presidents. The financial report was approved, reported and approved. There was a community coordination report where Mr. Wiley spoke about the Packard Foundation and its launching of the Youth Action Council. I reported that Lizzie Robin had set up our social media account. Ms. Rita Martinez did a presentation on behalf of both NAACP and El Movimiento Segue, asking our Pueblo branch to take a position on whether or not to remove the Pueblo Columbus Monument. And the executive committee was, again, researching that issue. There was a brief education report with the guest Regina Ward talking about a display at the library and talking about the drive for school supplies. Brief membership report. Ms. Mangrum talked about the membership process. And political action report, Ms. Marty Poole, and also Ms. Ruth Nierenberg talking about the voting outreach. Also Eric and Kathy Javino mentioned about voting outreach. New business announcements. There was a presentation from Rosemary Lytle about effective branch management. She also mentioned about the virtual March on Washington, which is available to watch online on YouTube, and its full two-hour presentation. Talking more about the Columbus Monument, and we had asked Ms. Lytle for information about how the National, if there's any position by the National. She said that the National takes position on Confederate monuments, but we didn't have any information about the Columbus monuments per se. So we would continue to study that. Also talk about the National Convention, which is happening from September 13th through 26th. Go to naacpconvention.org to learn more. She gave some other items about the suit against Betsy DeVos for education, branch elections coming up. Just some miscellaneous announcements, and then we adjourned. Any questions about the minutes at this time, or corrections?
If not, I would like to give some clarification that member Ruth Nierenberg is taking our minutes at our membership meetings due to the fact that our acting secretary is unable to do that at this time. However, these minutes are passed on to the acting secretary, as well as the website, our website. But hopefully we would get the minutes out to membership sooner so that everyone will be able to see those minutes. But if there's no corrections with the minutes, I will take a motion that we accept the minutes as read and reviewed and submitted by our acting vice secretary, Ruth Nierenberg. Can I get a motion?
I so move. Marty Poole.
I second Helen Wiley.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Okay. Okay. The minutes have been approved and will be set and placed in a record, in our files for record. Okay, now we'll go on to our financial report. Did we get the financial report?
Yes, we did. I'll bring it up on the screen too.
Okay.
Give me a moment while I
And
grab
if you
that.
could go on and
Here we go. I'll bring it up on the screen, and I think Mr. Mangrum could speak to the report.
okay. It's Miss.
While we're doing that, can I just say something here about the minutes? I may have to get off this call a little early, and I'm hoping that Ms. Mangrum is taking some notes this time.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
I may have to get off the call early, and I am hoping that Ms. Mangrum, since she's on, will be able to take those minutes.
Okay.
Yes, she responded in the chat window. She said that she'll take notes after Ms. Ruth Nannenberg leaves. Thank you both. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll bring up the share screen of the financial report, and then Mr. Mangrum could speak to the financial report.
I'm assuming that he's unable to speak as well. Or is Margaret and Fred on the same?
On the same line there.
Oh,
There he
okay.
is.
You're not. You're able to speak. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, then. Oh. All right. This. Oh. Second that. Oh, okay.
You can go ahead.
Start that. And see, the beginning deposits were $16,997.16. Then you see what the total deposits were $365, and that added together $17,338.16. Then we have the total checks, $162.30. Then we have the total withdrawals, $485.10. And the ending balance is $16,853.06.
Okay. And at the beginning, you said deposit, so that should be balance, correct? Of $16,973.16.
Yeah, the beginning balance, $16,973.16. That was the beginning balance.
Okay.
And then I had the total deposits, $365.
Okay.
And the total checks, $162.30. And the total total withdrawals then $485.10. And that's subtracted from that is $16,853.06.
Okay.
I'm not understanding it. Okay, right here where you got total checks minus $162.30.
What's that?
And then at the bottom, he got total withdrawals. Oh, okay, $485.10. Oh, so when you add the 322 and the 162, that's what he's saying. What's the okay? I was gonna say what's the amount of the total checks? 162.30. So is he saying the 322 and the 162 equals to the 485?
The total withdrawals together, and
okay.
The 162.30 and the 332.80, and the total withdrawals, and
okay.
Okay. I can't see the bottom of my report, so. Okay. Let's take a vote on the Treasury report. May I get a motion to accept the Treasury report as presented?
Madam President, I move that we accept the Treasurer's report as presented and placed on file for audit.
Can I get a second? Okay, Eric Javano is seconded. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the report will be.
Sorry, point of order, Madam President. Is there any opposed?
Right.
No. Any opposers? Okay, no opposers. The report will be placed on in our files for record and audit. Okay. Now we'll go on to our report of officers. First Vice President, Helen Wiley, do you have anything?
No, I don't have anything, Madam President. I'm sure you'll talk about the donation distribution, so I'll just let you talk about that. But other than that, right now I don't have anything.
Okay. Second Vice President, Alan Lambert, do you have anything to report?
Oh, I just wanted to briefly just mention what I learned at our executive committee meeting upon reflection was that I want to encourage as we move forward with branch elections, and that I know that a lot of our members are involved in many initiatives at this time, but keep your mind open for forward ahead to January 2021, because those 2 years from 2021 and to 2022 are pretty important for what we're about to embark on after our branch election. So we definitely need a lot of help with communications and committees and anything we can do, even to recruit, appoint, moving forward. Let's do it. So that's what I got to report.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. I have several items that I want to address. The first, as far as, and this will be a part of the Education Committee report. As Ms. Helen indicated, we decided to do a community project and donate sanitized supplies to 5 of the Title I elementary schools. These supplies will be going to the kindergarten classes of these 5 schools. And the schools were chosen based on the highest poverty rate. That's how we went to the list and we got the highest poverty rate elementary schools, and that was on the Title I list. And we decided to donate to those schools. We were able to partner with Target. Target donated $200 to the supplies, and the budget that the NAACP had was $500. We ended up spending $425, the NAACP, plus the $200 of what Target donated. The schools that will be receiving these items are Columbian Elementary, Bradford Elementary, Parkview Elementary, Irvin Elementary, and Brewer Heights Elementary. They will receive in their box Lysol disinfect spray, disinfect wipes, as well as hand sanitizer. We will be delivering these items to each school on Wednesday. They were very excited. I spoke to each principal. I spoke with the superintendent before we proceeded with the project, and everyone was very excited and wanted to share their thanks to our organization for thinking of them. But again, we will be delivering boxes to the schools on Wednesday, starting at, I believe, 9 o'clock, and each school is giving us about 20 minutes. Due to the COVID situation, some of the schools are not as welcoming as some of the others, but Columbia will be bringing up some of their students and their teachers to receive the items. So they were very excited about getting these items. Also, I spoke with Mr. Cervenak, who is the principal at Ron Colley. Yeah, I think it's Ron Colley, in reference to a Black History presentation program project. And we're still in talks with him, and he was going to be talking with his social studies teachers, the 8th grade social studies teachers, in reference to that project, which will kind of coincide with what we have going on at the library that was mentioned in the last month's meeting. So those are items that we are doing. Also, it's been talked about, people are wanting to know what the NAACP stance is on the Columbus Day, for the Christopher Columbus bust. I have written a statement to present. However, I would like to send it to each of our executive committee members to review before we put it out. But as it was said, you know, we are a civil rights organization established on the premise of equity and justice for all. And the bust is something that we feel what Christopher Columbus represents, we feel is an invasion and a brutal treatment of a sector of people that we do not condone. And the statement that I have prepared pretty much indicates that we stand in solidarity with the protesters, and that the bust should be replaced and put in its proper place, which would be a museum. I also indicated that it was unfortunate that the mediation between the two groups, that they could not come together in a compromise for the betterment of the community. And I mentioned that the city council stands on not putting that issue on the ballot for the people to decide. Unfortunate. But, and then I just gave some background as to what Christopher Columbus represented, and we will go forward with that. So I will be sending that statement out to our executive committee, and then we will send it out with any changes or recommendations, and then we'll send it out to the community, the public. Let's see, what else do I have? And that's all I have for right now, other than we will talk about the nomination, the branch nomination information, election information in a few minutes as we get down.
It might help if I, pardon the interruption, Madam President, it might help if I briefly outline the remainder of the agenda for those who are listening on the call. And is that okay if I do that for a moment? Yeah. Okay. So other than the usual flow of our agenda, our items for reports of committees are as follows: communications by Lamberg, education by Mack, legal redress, membership by Hinton, political action by Marty Poole, and then any other committee reports. Then we'll have unfinished business, So that's a little more about the Christopher Columbus statement if necessary. Or B, community project, which is about the donation of the school supplies. C, Black History Project. Then there's the new business, in which we talk about branch election and the consent form and the nominating committee and the branch election process. Incidentally, Madam Secretary had emailed an overview of the branch election process to our members who have email. So we'll talk about that. And then lastly, the registration for the National Convention, and then some announcements. So that is our agenda for today. So back to you.
Okay. And the unfinished business I have already touched on in my report.
Okay. Sure. All right.
So we will go. Did you have, Alan, did you have anything for communication, press, and publicity?
What I'd like to just say is I still need help with that. With everything that I'm working on, we could use a little more help with monitoring our internal email and voicemail. Maybe assistance with our electronic files that we keep on our Google Drive. 3, the newsletter. We used to send out a newsletter to our memberships by mail. We could use help with that. And to cap on that point, I was talking with Keith Wilhite on the phone the other day. Keith has been a long time member, but his membership had lapsed because he didn't get notice of his membership expiration. So, and a light bulb went off over my head, and I thought, well, wouldn't it, when we lose members by attrition for lack of communication, maybe we should spend a little money on notices and postcards, and maybe even pay somebody for their time to do this. That's something to think about. I would propose that we figure out what minimum necessary communications do we need to make sure that memberships don't lapse, that we encourage people to stay informed, just with the postcards, newsletters, right? And figure out how much that would cost, the cost of materials and postage, and then figure out how much it would cost for the labor, the time of someone who might be willing to take their time. They might be a student or a retired person, doesn't matter, but it's going to take time, and maybe just pay them a little bit for the cost of their time. Maybe that cost might be worthwhile. It would be less, that cost will be less than the money that we would save by making sure our memberships are renewed and all that. So just something to think about. Yeah, and I just got a note from secretaries agreeing with me.
The secretary, that is the duty of the secretary to inform folks. So the procedure, the responsibility is already enclosed in our bylaws and Constitution. That is a responsibility of our secretary. However, with our original secretary resigning and us getting a acting secretary, some of our duties have fallen off. The acting secretary just has not been able to do some of the things that that are needed. So hopefully that will remedy itself as we get elections for the next coming year, 21-22. But I would propose or recommend that we do take that suggestion that Alan just put out and talk about it maybe at the executive committee meeting and determine what we would like to do.
Thank you for
listening.
listening.
I thought there was also Mr. Hinton. He has the name of every member and the date that their membership expires. And I thought he already do. And of course, several times I helped him with a lot of that because, I went down the list of people that I knew. I got in touch with them and they renewed their membership. you know, just let them know that their membership had expired and they, you know, sent their money in. But is that not Mr. Hinton? I thought that was something that he already does. Is to when people membership, he calls them and let them know that your membership has expired. Is that not his job too?
Well,
Yes, that's my job.
Okay. Oh, Mr. Hinton, hi.
And it's ready.
I thought
He works
that you know, you do that, and a couple times, I know I helped him with the list of people, you know, especially around at the church. I had
Yes.
a lot of members at the church, and I would always let them know when their membership was in, and they would always send their, you know, get their money and their checks and give them to me, and I'll turn them in, and I'll, you know, call people even out of town. Several times I called people to let them know that their membership, if I could get in touch with them.
well, what we want
I
to
just
do.
thought that that's something Mr. Hinton already, you know, do, and as always, you know, he knows that if he needs help with that, I'm more than willing to help him, you know, call people if they're to renew their membership, cause, and we, you know, we shouldn't have to pay anyone to do that. When Mr. Hinton, the secretary, and again, I say I'm always willing, especially at church, those members, I'm always on them when their membership to let them know that their membership has expired. They need to renew their membership.
And what we want.
Keith Wilhite, I know I called him a couple times when his membership, and it seemed like Kenzie Hull would always do Keith, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't think we should, you know, have to pay nobody to do that. I think that's just, as you say, already in the bylaws for the secretary and Mr. Hinton to do that.
Right.
And the membership chair, yes, the secretary and the membership chair work together on that. But it is to notify them before before it expires.
Yeah.
But those responsibilities are set, and we just have to
follow up.
You know, start doing them. Yeah. But okay.
So that's all I had to do to report for communications. Just what can we do to improve? I'm sure we do some basic things, but what can we do to improve and what? So maybe we'll talk more about that at the executive committee too.
Okay.
The next item is education.
I already talked about education.
Okay.
Legal redress. I don't think anybody is on for legal redress. I don't think one. And I don't think we've received any complaints or anything since the last meeting. Membership, Mr. Hinton, would you like to speak on the membership?
Oh, yes. Friday, Mr. Lambert and I, we was invited to an event that the Art Alliances was having, and we attended that event. And at this event, I noticed something, you know, like there was quite a few people there, and we was all, you know, in masks and our gloves, you know. And I've been thinking, why can't we have meetings like that? You know, how come we can't get together like that and have meetings with our masks and whatnot? If we can't get the library, we got the park. If we can't get the park, we have the Mason Hall. We could try to get that. But at this year event that we had, we didn't do too good in the membership department because the people was involved in the entertainment. So, but we're still trying though. We're not giving up.
Thank you, Mr. Hinton.
Okay.
And the reason we don't do person-to-person meetings is because our national president has indicated that all the branches will not do that. So until they give us permission, we will not do that.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Sister Poole, political action. Is there anything more that you would like to address?
No, it was Sister Ivesine White and I that for political action and invited Bo. So, and I think that was all taken care of, other than reminding everybody, of course, you know the importance of voting is like your life depended on it. And so encourage your family and neighbors and friends to make sure that they're registered and they participate, pay, and vote early. And 4,000 postcards. I don't know if Kathy Javanaugh is on, but she was in charge of sending out 4,000 postcards, of which she sent 50 to quite a few of us, and then I was able to get 10 people to help with that. And we all hand wrote the postcards, and they were mailed out.
It was 5,000.
Last week or so.
It was 5,000 postcards.
It was 5,000. Well, it was 4,000 when you told me, but 5,000. Kathy, you go ahead and tell everybody about that.
Oh, it was just a get out the vote campaign. Several volunteers from across the county. Marty Poole recruited, oh gosh, at least 6-8 people, and we crossed the finish line more than what we thought, and 5,000 postcards were written by all these volunteers just to get out the vote, and thank all the volunteers, and Marty, you're incredible. Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
Patricia did too.
Yeah.
And Ron Wiley, Ron and Helen took 100. So it was quite a task, but we finished, and we're going to do it again in 2 weeks. So thank you.
And Kathy put a lot of work into it and made it very easy for us to, well, a lot easier for us to do because it was so well organized. Thanks for all your hard work, Kathy.
Okay. Okay, are there any other committees online that I missed? Any other committees that would, chairpersons that would like to say anything? If not, we'll go on down to the new business, which would be the branch election of the nominating committee that should be going forth today. Margaret, is there any way that
yes,
Margaret,
can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
I can.
Okay.
Can you go on? Okay.
Okay, so
If you,
yes. Regarding the branch elections, we conduct elections every 2 years, each branch, and there's a procedure. Now, as acting secretary, I already sent out notices regarding the September, October, November meetings and what's to take place. So, I trust everyone's received them.
I didn't.
Well, I sent them out via email, and those who did not have email, a letter mail. So if you didn't receive it, just send me an email or give me a call. I'll ask that. But moving forward, the procedure, and it hasn't changed per se. Only thing that's changing is us meeting in person. But at the September meeting, we are to elect members of a nominating committee. And the nominating committee looks at the current membership list and request or ask people who want to run for a particular office, you know, or if someone interested, they will let the nominating committee know. You know, and our positions are up, you know, president, secretary, treasurer, and as well as members of the executive committee. So we're to pick between the minimum is 5 people. We can have up to 15, but the minimum is 5 people, and they all must be current members as of for a month. The membership has to be current at least for a month. And then the nominating committee meets with the secretary within 10 days after this meeting, and I will present the list of members who are eligible to run for office, okay? And the nominating committee job is to meet, go over the list, see who wants to run for office, call members up, etc., communicate, and then present them with a nominating form, a consent form they will sign to say that they want to run for office, okay? And then at next month's meeting in October, the nominating committee, you know, they elect the president, secretary, present written minutes of their meeting, and they present a report at the October meeting, who's running for office, okay? And then at the next month's meeting, after the report, we select the supervisory committee. And the supervisory committee is the ones who would conduct the election. You know, ballots, decide how we're going to vote, and et cetera, all that. there any questions, or have I covered everything, or is there something I can clarify? But that was needs to take place today. We elect at least five people for the nominating committee to begin our election process, branch election process.
Yes, I think that was very clear and concise, and I thank you for that oversight, Secretary Mangrum. So I will open it up for nomination. As Secretary Mangrum said, we should have at least 5, and because of our branch being so small, that's the recommendation I would put out, that we elect 5 people for the nominating to be on the nominating committee. Are there anyone that would like to nominate someone?
Point of order, I'm sorry, I have a question.
President, I would like to serve on the nominating committee.
Okay. Well, we will nominate. Alan, what was you going to say?
I had a question, and maybe the members might be asking this too, but for those who, if someone's going to be nominated to the executive committee, would that preclude them or prevent them from being nominated to the election supervisory committee or the nominating committee? So that's a good question for Madam Acting Secretary, I think.
That's a good question. Let me think.
Let me look and see. I have all the paperwork here.
Yeah, it's in our instructions. Let me pull that up. Well, first thing, we can only have, if you're going to serve on a nominating committee, we can have only a minimum of 2 current officers on the nominating committee. So 2 can be officers, and the other have to be members, just regular members. Don't have an office.
Okay.
And then people who serve on the supervisory committee, they cannot be persons running for any office.
Makes sense.
And we're not dealing with the supervisory committee just yet. So
just
we're
the nomination.
dealing with the nomination committee.
Okay.
So for your answer to your question, Alan, they can be on the nominating committee. Okay.
She said 2 officers. 2 officers, and then the others each have to be of the membership. Isn't that what you just said?
Yes.
You can't have more than 2 members, 2 officers.
Right.
Right.
Not more. But you don't have to have any, So
right.
Okay.
But so I'm going to open it up right now for nomination for the nominating committee.
May I ask a question first, please? Eric here?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Just to clarify, is a member of the executive committee considered an officer for the purposes of the nominating committee?
I think so.
No.
Okay, I didn't think so either, but I wanted that clarification. Thank you.
Okay. So I will make the first nomination. I will nominate is Angela Perkins Peterkin on the?
Yes, she is. I'll ask her to unmute.
Okay.
So Angela Peterkin, can you unmute? There you go.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
I would like to nominate Angela Peterkin to be on the nominating committee.
I would support that. Do we motion? What? Do we do a motion to nominate?
Yes. Is she willing to
ask her first?
Be
yes,
a part,
Madam
take
President,
part?
I will accept
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
Madam President, I will accept that nomination.
Okay.
Then I'll second it. I'll second it for the purposes of this discussion.
You'll have to second. Marty Poole, Mrs. Wiley said she was interested in serving, so I would nominate her to the committee.
Okay. Well, let's vote on each one separately, and because or do we want to nominate all 5 and then just have one vote?
One vote.
Nominate all 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, Mrs. Helen Wiley.
On Wiley, and she has already indicated that she's willing, and she is an officer, so that's one officer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I nominate Willie Hinton.
Mr. Hinton, are you willing?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And that's 3, and he's not an officer. He's a chair. Okay.
I nominate Ms. Poole.
Mr. Poole, are you willing?
I'm willing.
Okay. Marty Poole. Okay.
And I'd like to nominate Sister Ivestine White if she's interested and willing.
We need, Ms. Poole, I think we need one more officer. We have.
No, we don't have.
No, you don't have. Yeah.
You don't have to have officer. It's just limited to 2, but you don't have to have an officer.
Again, Mrs. Ivestine White, if she's interested.
Yes. Yes, Marty.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. I make a motion that we close the nominating process and have a vote.
I second that emotion.
Okay. Okay, we are,
Well, just for clarification, I think Mr. Eric Javino motioned, and I would second that. I'll second that nomination slate as well.
okay. Okay, now we'll take the vote for the nominating committee. Will be Angela Peterkin, Helen Wiley.
I can read the names. I can read the names.
You read them? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, we have nominated for the nominating committee, Helen Wiley, who's the current officer, Angela Peterkin, Willie Hinton, Marty Poole, and Ivestine White, who are regular members. And all their membership is current.
Great. Okay, now we'll vote on it. All in favor?
Well, should I?
Aye.
Aye.
We'll go down the list. Just say aye. I'll go down the list.
Okay.
Roxana Mack, aye. Alan Lambert,
Aye.
Kathy Javino,
She says aye.
Mark Holmes.
Aye.
Okay. Willie Hinton,
Aye.
Margaret Mangrum.
Aye.
Oh, my thing left. Okay. Patricia O'Brien.
Aye.
Okay. Florence Hunt and Ivestine White.
Aye. Aye.
Okay. Okay. Helen Wiley,
Aye.
Fred Mangrum,
Aye.
Marty Poole,
Aye.
Bianca Hicks.
Aye.
Did I miss anyone? My list kept jumbling around. Did I
Eric
miss
Javino says
anyone?
aye.
Oh, I'm sorry, Eric.
That's okay.
I could read the roll call for the remainder of the people, if that's okay.
Okay, yes, since I don't.
Okay. Is Ron Wiley on the call? I see that his video is on there.
Ron Wiley, aye.
Okay. And Sol Tafoya,
Tafoya, aye.
And Angela Peterkin,
Aye.
Frederick Mangrum.
Aye.
You already did that.
Oh.
Okay. And then Robert Jones. And Mr. Jones, forgive me, I had muted your signal because there was some background noise. So if you punch *6 on your phone, you can unmute. Again, Robert Jones, if you punch *6, you'll be able to unmute and then say aye or nay for the roll call. He might not be available at the moment, but that's the rest of the roll call.
Okay. So it has been motioned and nominated and voted on that the 5 people will be our nominating committee for our branch election of 2020. And our secretary, was Ruth on the line?
Who?
Ruth.
Oh, Ruth had,
She had to leave.
Okay.
Yeah, Ruth had to
Okay.
leave at 1:17. So she said
Okay.
Ruth said that she would not be available for nominating committee or to serve an officer, but she said it was a great meeting, Mr. Ortiz, and she asked Ms. Poole to contact her to collaborate with the League of Women Voters.
Okay. I just needed.
She can contact me.
Oh.
Okay. So it has been approved and nominated for the 5 committee members on the nominating committee. Secretary Mangrum will be contacting you all with the other information that you will need to do your responsibilities.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So that's the end of that. Thank you. That was quick and easy. Okay. The next thing is the registration for the virtual national NAACP convention, which starts on Monday. No, tomorrow. It starts tomorrow. I do have, let's see, Alan, do you have the site where people can go to
Yes.
register, just normal people? Okay, well, not normal
Yes.
people, but
So what you do
people
is,
that are other delegates.
right, for people who are not delegates to our convention, you can either be anybody really. You can be a member of our group, or just even if you're a guest. What you do is you go to naacpconvention.org, and there's a link to register. There's actually a registration link here, but I'll just go to the main site first. I got it on the share screen. So go naacpconvention.org. It's got the schedule, and there's a link to register. You click on that, and it's all virtual. It's using a computer, so you have to have the bad news is that the pandemic prevented in-person meeting, but the good news is you can use the internet, video and audio to participate, to listen. So you register with your name, and you can indicate which sessions you're interested in. So that way you'll get a link to each session. So if you're not available if you're only available for just one, go ahead and sign up. It'll be informative. There's a lot to learn. And you can indicate if you're a member or not, but it doesn't matter. You can be a guest. You don't have to be a member of the NAACP to participate. So it's basically like a webinar. You'll be able to watch and listen, and maybe even chat, send messages and questions. But it's worthwhile. So there's a lot to do, and it's a lot to learn about. So I'll be a delegate as well, but I would encourage anyone listening here to sign up. Okay.
Yes, I would like to second that. I want to encourage everyone to take part in just at least one session, just so you can see what goes on at our national conventions. Like Alan mentioned, due to the state we're in now, we couldn't have the in-person convention, which would have been in Boston, I believe. But it's very informative. Hopefully next year everyone will be able to go to the in-person convention. But this year it's free, so you don't have to worry about any monies, having to travel anywhere, hotel fees. Normally there's registration fees and everything, so you don't have to do that. All you have to do is register online on that site that Alan put up, and I also have it. So if you would rather for me just to send you the link, I can do that also. If you send me an email, I can just send you the link if it's easier that way.
Would you do that? Okay.
Yes,
I was just going to request that.
Okay, I will send that to you, Sister Poole. And anybody
Appreciate
else that
it.
would like, just let me know. Patricia, I'll send it to you directly also. I see your hand up. Okay. But it's very informative, and it's going to be just like our normal convention, and they have everything going on.
Starting time is?
I believe it's 4:00, but I have to check.
You mean tomorrow? It starts at 4:00.
Yes, I believe that's when it starts.
Actually, it's
is that right out? What time is it?
Yeah, 4 p.m. Mountain Time. So just when you go to the website, all the times are listed Eastern Standard Time. So be aware of that.
Right.
It says ET, not ET extraterrestrial, but Eastern Standard Time. So yes, you're right. 4:00 is the opening address. So when you see those dates, times, just subtract 2, so you don't, because that confuses me too. So yeah,
right.
we're 2 hours. We're 2 hours off from Eastern Standard Time.
Oh boy.
And lastly, I would like to turn it over to Secretary Mangrum to give the delegates and the alternates their information on registration.
Okay, so earlier this morning, I sent the delegates their link to the convention. You're already registered and everything, and they sent the link this morning. So just check your email. If you didn't get it, just let me know. But your convention link I sent to you earlier before the meeting. And
okay.
That's about it.
So we are already registered, all the delegates and the
yes,
the alternates.
Yes.
And also it's going to be very important for the delegates and the alternates for the resolutions, which I believe are on the last 2 days of the convention. I think Alan sent everyone all the resolutions, so just review those so you be able to give your input. And maybe next year we'll send in some resolutions that will help our organization here in Pueblo.
Yes, and if the delegates are missing anything, just send me an email.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
So if you need anything, if you need anything, just send Margaret an email. Okay. And the last thing I think we have is the DACA event, which is following this meeting at 4:00 from 4 to 5:30 at the Kmart parking lot. And I'm going to ask Kathy to just review that for us, just to give us some information on that.
Ms. Sol Tafoya, I think, wanted to speak to that. She's the one who.
Oh, Sol? Okay. Is it Sol?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay.
I know we're finishing up, so I'll be quick. So you're all invited to join us. We're going to be waving signs to stand in solidarity with Dreamers It's just something that we want to just continue to maintain awareness about. It's something that we don't want our community to forget about. So we're going to be bringing awareness, standing in solidarity with Dreamers today, Saturday, from 4 to 5:30 p.m. We're pretty much just going to be along the sidewalk, but just to give everyone an idea, we just set the Kmart parking lot. And so it's going to be at the location on Highway 50 and Elizabeth. So if you'd like to join us, come on out.
Great. Okay, are there any other announcements?
No, I would like to ask, you sent an email about being invited to the police training, and you were, what date did you decide on?
That was only for the executive committee meeting, for the executive committee members, and I will get with you on that.
Okay, great.
Okay. Is there any other announcements or any other concerns, any other recommendations?
Well, Madam President, this is Alan Lambert. One of the items you had on your agenda was the Black History Project, and I think we might have overlooked that. Did you want to speak about that, the Black History Project?
Yeah, I spoke on that. I spoke on that about the principal Circovic at Ron Colley. I did.
Sorry, that was my multitasking, and it went right through me. Okay.
We're going to get you some help, Alan. I promise.
Thank you.
I'm going to get you some help.
Okay. And
okay.
Any other announcements then? Anyone?
Any other announcements?
It's good to see. By the way, it's good to see some faces we haven't seen for a couple months. You know, Mark Holmes, good to see you again. Yeah, you're looking well as well. Yeah.
I need some of that farm.
I love and miss you all.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Jones is still muted. Sorry, Mr. Jones. I had muted your connection because of the background noise on your end. But if you wanted to unmute yourself, just do *6 on your phone and you'll be able to unmute.
Okay. If there's no other comments, no other announcements, I will adjourn this meeting. Mr. Wiley, can you give us a prayer and so we can adjourn this meeting?
Yes, ma'am. Heavenly
Thank you,
Father,
sir.
let us all pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for allowing us to come together. Thank you for allowing us to discuss matters of importance and to work towards putting this organization forward. We know all that we do come from you, and we could do nothing without you. Thank you for your blessing, and as everyone leave and go to their daily duties, bless them, and in your name we pray. Amen.
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 Thank you, everybody, for being on the meeting.
Sure.
Thank you.
One late breaking announcement was that the City of Pueblo, the City Council, had sent a $500 check to our branch for their yearly donation. So that $500 check was received by our financial committee.
Nice.
Okay.
That's
great.
Per our announcement. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. That's going to go to the schools for the school supplies. Amen. See? Okay. I'll see Sol and Kathy at the DECA event. Good night. Good evening.
Good night.
Have a good rest of your day. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you.